I will start from where I finished in my last class. And I'm really sorry for this changed schedule today. In fact, this is going to be a semester long problem for me, I guess. Still, I will have to go with it. That is, today, I have back to back classes. One class is from 4 to 5:30 or 5:20, and then the next starts from 5:30, which is your class. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
still, I don't have any problem with that. But I was supposed to go to the university today, and if
Mm-hmm.
I go there, we have to stay from 10 to 5. That means I have to start from the university from 5. I cannot stay more than that because the MLSs and other people, they will be gone. So in that case, it will be difficult for me, almost beyond the rule, to stay after 5. So that means I will be on the way when I actually I'm supposed to start your class. তো 5:30। সো একটা ক্রিটিক্যাল একটা ব্যাপার হয়ে দাঁড়ায় যে আমি রাস্তায় থাকবো ওই সময় তোমাদের ক্লাস শুরু করার ব্যাপারটা তৈরি তৈরি হচ্ছে। So considering all this, I thought of changing at least today's class to 11:30, বাট শেষ পর্যন্ত আর ইউনিভার্সিটিতে যাইনি, কারণ আজকে আসলে আমার যাওয়ার শিডিউল ডে না। আমি যাই সোম আর বুধ, তো সেই হিসেবে তোমাদের ক্লাসটা হ্যাম্পার্ড হওয়ার কথা না। তো ইনশাল্লাহ
Mm-hmm.
নেক্সট উইক থেকে রবিবারে বিকেলে ক্লাস হবে, আশা করি সমস্যা হবে না। আর এটাই আপাতত। আর আমাদের তো আরেকটা দিন হচ্ছে, উই উইল বি ফ্লেক্সিবল, থার্সডে হতে পারে অথবা ফ্রাইডে হতে পারে। উই উইল ডু দ্য আদার ক্লাস অন দ্যাট ডে, প্রিফারেবলি থার্সডে। বন্ধের দিন আর তোমাদের আমি ডিস্টার্ব করতে চাই না, বিকজ ইউ মে হ্যাভ আদার commitments on Fridays as well as on Saturdays. Okay, so let us start. Uh, we were discussing the characters, and the characters are in the fourth file, Measure for Measure, Act 1. All right. So I'm going there.
Sir, I have a question actually. Maybe you are the right person to ask this
Please.
question. Sir, the
Yes,
question
sure.
is actually what kind of question pattern we have to face in this online courses. Actually, like I'm sure that the question pattern is not gonna be the as usual way it was previous, like when the pandemic. So this time maybe they will change the question pattern. Like what would be the question pattern actually? Like how should we prepare ourselves for the exam?
Uh, I am not sure about other teachers, but in my course, I don't really change them that much. All right. If we are told to take assignments of the students
Mm-hmm.
in place of exams, then I will give you those broad questions to write as assignments. And if exams are held, then I will give you the broad questions and the short questions to write as you do in exams. So the questions will not change. Okay, the mode of testing you may change. It may be assignments, or
Mm-hmm.
it may be exams, but my topics, my questions will be the same. For example, in my last class, I gave topics, okay, from this play.
Mm-hmm.
I told, uh, there is a call. Just excuse me for a few seconds. Hello. Hi, Onisam. Oh, oh, lost the connection. Yes, I guess I am back. Right. In my last class, I gave you some topics. For example, in from Measure for Measure, one topic was your idea about justice. Okay, so what kind of idea do you develop about justice after studying Measure for Measure? So this is a question, a broad question for the exam. And if there is no exam held and we are told to give you assignments, then this will be the assignment question. Okay, that's how it is. I will not make a big difference. But I am not sure about other teachers, how they are going to do it. Okay, right. So I hope you can hear me clearly. If there is
Yes, sir.
any problem, okay. Yes,
Sir, but
Mahbuba? Yeah.
okay.
Sir,
Yes,
uh,
yeah, Mahbuba, please.
if you could upload the last class recording, then it would have been
Yes, yes, yes. Sorry, I forgot to do that, but today I will do. I will upload both the classes. Okay,
okay, sir.
don't
Thank you.
worry, I will do it. In fact, while I was starting today's class, I suddenly remembered that I hadn't uploaded the last class. So I will do it today. Okay, for you.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
Niloy, you
Thank you.
were saying?
Sir, if the question pattern is same, then like maybe there would be opportunity to do the copy of the papers, and how do you identify that if the question paper is same or
Uh, 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 in fact, if there are, say, 12 students in a
uh-huh.
class, probably it is possible to give different questions to different students or different topics for assignments to different students. But if I have a course of, say, 30 students,
Uh-huh.
I cannot give different assignments to every single student. All right.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I don't really bother about that. And the my experience with the students in my last semester, it was
Mm-hmm.
like that uh, uh, they did not really copy from each other. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
in most of the cases they tried to copy from internet,
Yes, sir.
but as I had strictly told them not to copy from each other, because in that case I would deduct marks from both the answers, both the students. Then they were very cautious about that. They did not copy from each other, but they copied from internet. Now the
Uh-huh.
problem of copying from internet is that uh, I do not set my questions in the way that you will get some direct answer from internet. All right. You will have
Oh,
to put something from yourself. So that's where it really matters. Students copied
uh-huh.
from internet and ended up writing something uh, which were not relevant, and they did not get good marks. But the students who
Oh, okay.
understood the questions well, and they also realized that they had to do some modifications from the things that they had downloaded from internet, they rather got good marks. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
অ্যান্ড এই যে কোর্সটা এখান থেকেও আমি ঠিক ওভাবেই কোয়েশ্চেন করছি। আমার যে কোয়েশ্চেনগুলো যেমন জাস্টিস নিয়ে যেটা বললাম, কিংবা
Mm-hmm.
হেডোনিজম অ্যান্ড এটা ডিফারেন্স বিটুইন হেডোনিজম অ্যান্ড রিলিজিয়ন, এগুলোর সরাসরি অ্যান্সার তুমি ওভাবে পাবা না কোথাও। তোমাকে নিজে থেকে কিছু দিতেই হবে। এবং
Oh,
সেটা করতে যে তুমি যে আরেকজনটা কপি করো, তাহলে দুটো অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট এক দেখালে সেখানে তুমি মার্কস হারাবে। আবার ইন্টারনেটটা ফুললি কপি করলে তুমি ভালো মার্কস পাচ্ছ না। তাহলে the only option to get a good mark is to study. Yes, you can download material from internet, but you have to put something of your own there. ঠিক আছে, তোমার নিজের কিছু ওখানে দিতেই হবে। তো আমি মার্কিং এর বিষয়টাকে এভাবে দেখছি, সুতরাং আমি এটা নিয়ে খুব একটা ওয়ারিড না। ঠিক আছে,
that means,
যে
sir,
স্টুডেন্টরা
it's
কপি
easy
করবে
to.
তারা
That means, sir,
হুম,
we are allowed
বলো।
to follow internet materials, but it's easy to get pass mark, but not for getting good
Yes.
results.
Yes, exactly, exactly. You will pass because our instruction, the
Yeah.
instruction we have from the authority is that since it is a difficult mode of education, right? This online mode. And we are not very used to with it. Students don't have all the facilities all the time. So there are many problems, all right, on both sides. So that's why we have to be very flexible, and we will try our level best not to give you marks that fail you, all right. We will try to give you pass marks at least, all right, সেটা তোমরা পাবা। কিছু লিখলেই একটু চেষ্টা করলে লিখবে না, যারা খুবই বাজে করবে তাদের কথা আলাদা, কিন্তু এরকম স্টুডেন্ট এখানে খুব কম আছে। সো ফেইলটা বোধহয় তেমন একটা পর্ব হয় নাই। পাস করবা, এখন কত ভালোভাবে পাস করতে পারো, টেক ইট অ্যাজ এ চ্যালেঞ্জ, ওয়ার্ক হার্ড, অ্যান্ড উই আর রেডি টু গিভ ইউ গুড মার্কস। ওকে
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for explaining this. Actually, I was curious for what's gonna
ওকে,
happen
ইউ আর
actually.
মোস্ট ওয়েলকাম। Now you can always ask me questions. I am ready to answer. Right, let us start from the last character we discussed. The last character was Mariana. Now, Mistress Overdone. So I am starting from Pompey. Pompey is a clown, all right, uh, who also works for Mistress Overdone. Pompey is also a pimp. The word pimp means বাংলা যাদেরকে বলি আমরা প্রস্টিটিউটদের দালাল। Okay, so he does a very low kind of job, and he works for Mistress Overdone, who runs the brothel. And most importantly, Pompey is a comic character. There will be a short question on the comic characters. I may ask you to enlist the comic characters. Okay, so this character becomes important for this. Okay, he is one of the comic characters in this play. So he is a clown, he is a pimp, and he works for Mistress Overdone. Provost. The provost runs the prison. He's the jailer, actually. The word provost here means the jailer. And he is responsible for carrying out all of Angelo's orders. Though he doesn't like Angelo, he doesn't agree with Angelo in punishing someone so hard as it is the case with Claudio. All right. So, though he disagrees with Angelo, he cannot go against him simply because Angelo is in supreme power now. All right. So, this is the provost, who is the jailer, and whose job it is to carry out Angelo's orders. Next is Elbow. Elbow is a dim-witted constable. So this is his profession. He's a constable, and he is a fool as well. That's why dim-witted, this phrase is used. Someone who has got less intelligence than common people. So that person may be called dim-witted, shalpobuddhir. All right. So he is a dim-witted constable who arrests people for misconduct. All right. Particularly of the sexual variety. That means someone who does some kind of sexual deviance, okay, like molesting someone, getting engaged with the brothel, all right, or working for Mistress Overdone, people like Mistress Overdone, people who are engaged in such activities, Elbow arrests them. Okay, this is his job. He speaks in malapropisms and provides comic relief throughout the play. So there are one term and one phrase to discuss here, I guess. He speaks in malapropisms. Now, malapropisms is a speech problem. Okay, it means you intend to say one word, but you end up saying a similar kind of word in terms of pronunciation, but completely different in meaning. All right. So that is malapropism, where someone who speaks a word that he or she doesn't intend to. For example, saying parcel instead of partial. All right. Then one more example can be, let me check a little. I may find one more example to share with you. It is here in this file. Mm, I don't have the hard copy. If I had, then I would easily find it. Okay, I was actually looking for a particular scene in the play where Elbow appears and he speaks um, in a way that shows malapropism. Unfortunately, I can't find it at this moment, but while I will be discussing the play, I will definitely mention that part, okay, when we will be there. So for the time being, just one example for you, saying parcel when you are actually trying to say or you intend to say partial. Now,
Mhm.
this malapropism uh, causes some funny situation in the play. And this very defect or speech problem makes Elbow a funny character, a comic character. So Elbow is also one of the comic characters. And the other phrase here is comic relief. Okay. May I ask you, since you have already studied some courses where you study drama, right? I mean, drama related courses. So you may be familiar with this phrase, comic relief. Does anybody know what it really means, comic relief?
Uh, আমি দুটোর মিনিং জানি স্যার বাট লাইক পলিউশন অফ ওয়ার্ডের মিনিংটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি আই ডোন্ট নো
Acha. You know the meaning of comic, you know the meaning of relief, right?
ইয়েস স্যার এক্স্যাক্টলি
But anyone that knows the meaning of this phrase, comic relief, in the context of plays
স্যার ইজ ইট অ্যানেকডোট
or dramas? No, no, not exactly. Not exactly. It is a kind of figure of speech, of course. Okay, no response. So let me explain to you then. It is a very common phrase used in plays, especially in tragedies. We see the use of comic relief. Suppose you are there as an audience. You are watching the play, which is being performed on the stage. All right. And it is a tragedy, okay, that you are watching. Now, in that tragedy, some violent incidents taking place. Okay. There are incidences that make you quite tense. And this tense situation continues to build up as you continue to watch the play. Oh, there is a network problem again.
Yes, sir. You need me a problem.
Yeah, now I think
Yes,
you can
sir.
hear
Yes,
me.
sir.
Oh, great. আসলে হয় কি আমার বাসায় সকালবেলা একটু সমস্যাই আমার 2 মেয়ে, আমার ভাইয়ের 2 মেয়ে, আমার বোন যে স্কুল টিচার এবং আমি। আমরা ৬ জন মোটামুটি একটা ওয়াইফাই ইউজ করি। যদিও আমি একটা এক্সটেন্ডার ইউজ করছি এটার জন্য। তো বুঝতেই পারছো the line gets a bit too busy. So বেশি প্রবলেম হয় আমি মোবাইল রেডি রেখেছি আর রেকর্ডিং তো হচ্ছেই, there should not be any problem. Acha, I was discussing comic relief. So as an audience, you are watching the play, and since it is a tragedy, with the incidences that you watch on the stage, which are violent incidents people are being murdered, okay, there is bloodshed, and such things are happening. As one of the audience, you get more and more tensed, all right? And suddenly there is one scene where there are some comic elements, and that particular scene provides you some sort of relief from that very tensed situation. Okay, that tension that has so far been developed is in a way punctured through this scene. Okay, একটা বেলুন, সেটাতে তুমি একটা সুচ ফোটালে কি হবে, ফুস করে বেলুনটা ফুটে যাবে, বাতাসটা বের হয়ে যাবে। In the same way, that very scene, which is a comic one, after so many intense, so many violent scenes, that very scene gives you some kind of relief. Okay, and such a scene is called comic relief. Okay, এই জিনিসটা তোমরা শুধু নাটকে কেন, মুভিতেও দেখবা, যে ধরো কয়েকটা খুব ইন্টেন্স ঘটনা পরপর দেখানো হলো, তুমি এটার মধ্যে এতটা ডুবে গেছো যে তুমিও ওই ঘটনাগুলোর সাথে সেই টেনশনটা ফিল করছো, তারপরে একটা খুব হালকা টাইপের, খুব লাইট, খুব ফানি টাইপের কিছু একটাও দেখানো হলো, সো ইউ লাফ, অ্যাজ অ্যান অডিয়েন্স ইউ স্টার্ট লাফিং. So this particular part of the movie is called comic relief. Okay, so in case of plays, a comic relief is generally a scene that helps to release the tension of the audience. Okay, so that is comic relief. Now, Elbow provides that comic relief. You find that Isabella is probably in that dilemma. Okay, she is very tense, and with Isabella, you are also very tensed if you are watching the play. And then there is the entrance of Elbow. Elbow enters, and he provides some comic relief to you as well as to the whole audience. All right. Acha, next character is Bernardine, a long-term prisoner in the jail. Bernardine is sentenced to be executed together with Claudio. The Duke originally considers him hopeless and therefore dispensable, but later changes his mind. So Bernardine is a prisoner. He is also one of the comic characters. He is a bohemian. The word bohemian means someone who doesn't care for serious issues of life, all right? Who is very carefree, okay, like a vagabond, all right? And he drinks a lot, all right? And Bernardine has been about a death penalty, but he doesn't care really. Oh. So that is his nature. And the Duke, he finds that Bernardine is dispensable. তার মানে হচ্ছে ক্লডিওর জায়গায় যদি বার্নারডাইনকে মেরে তার কাটা মাথা পাঠিয়ে দিতে হয়, দ্য ডিউক ইজ রেডি টু ডু দ্যাট। এবং প্রথমে কিন্তু এরকম একটা ডিসিশন হয়েছিল that Bernardine will be rather executed and his head will be sent just to prove that Claudio has been executed. But পরে তারা জানতে পারলো যে না, একজন পাইরেট মারাই গেছে, so it became easier for them. All right, so Bernardine হচ্ছে সেই চরিত্র. And finally, Juliet, Claudio's lover. She is pregnant with Claudio's baby. Juliet is a good girl. She loves Claudio, and this love is true love. Okay, there is no dishonesty or insincerity in her. All right, and at one point she even confesses that her guilt in this relationship is greater than that of Claudio. So ওইটা আমরা পরে আসবো। আমি আসলে ক্যারেক্টারগুলো না, আমি অ্যাক্ট এবং সিনে বেশি ফোকাস করতে চাই। So let us start the play. It would be nice if I could discuss the play from the text, but the time we have is not enough for doing that. All right, so what I will continue to do, I will discuss the summaries and commentaries or analysis of the play. All right, so that you learn what is there in each scene, and at the same time you understand their implications. Okay, acha. The Duke calls Lord Angelo to grant him the temporary leadership of Vienna. Angelo modestly refuses, asking the Duke to test his skill in some smaller way first. The Duke tells him that his mind is already made up and that he must leave right away. So this is the beginning of the play, where you find two characters, the Duke and Lord Angelo. Now, the Duke calls Angelo and hands over the leadership of Vienna. All right. Angelo seems to be very polite or modest. He tells the Duke that he uh, should not be given such a big responsibility to start with. That is, the Duke should try him with some lesser responsibility first. If he passes that, if he uh, is successful in performing that responsibility, only then the Duke should hand him over the leadership of Vienna. But the Duke, he says that he has already made up his mind that he will no longer be in power. He will rather abandon his position, and he will give this position to Angelo right away. Okay, তো প্রথম ঘটনা এই নাটকের হুম, সংক্ষেপে বললে এরকম যে ডিউক অ্যাঞ্জেলোকে ডাকলেন, ক্ষমতা দিতে চাইলেন। অ্যাঞ্জেলো প্রথমে না করছে, হুইচ শোজ হিজ মডেস্টি। বলছে যে আমাকে আপনি আগে এর চেয়ে কম গুরুত্বপূর্ণ একটা দায়িত্ব দিয়ে পরখ করে দেখেন, তারপরে আমাকে অত বড় দায়িত্ব দিয়েন। কিন্তু ডিউক বলছে যে তার হাতে ওভাবে সময় নেই। তিনি এই দায়িত্ব দিয়ে দিতে চান এবং তিনি রাইট অ্যাওয়ে এখনই তিনি এখান থেকে সরে পড়তে চান। তিনি আর ভিয়েনার লিডার হিসেবে কাজ করতে রাজি নন। Right. Meanwhile, on a street, Lucio talks with two other gentlemen about recent events. They joke about the Duke's trip to meet with the King of Hungary and the war being carried out between Hungary and the Viennese city-state. The gentlemen as soldiers do not approve of the peace accord being proposed. Lucio compares them to a pirate going out to sea with the 10 Commandments, having scraped one out of the table, "Thou shalt not steal." The first gentleman responds that it is against the pirate's nature to obey such a rule, and likewise it is against the soldier's nature to wish for peace. Okay. So some more characters are introduced to us. First, Lucio. I hope you can recall what you learned about Lucio. Shakespeare called him a fantastic. All right. Actually, Lucio is a very clever human being. He is a friend of Claudio, and he is, of course, one of the most important funny characters or comic characters in this play. All right. At first, we find Lucio having a conversation with two other gentlemen. What are they talking about? At this moment, Vienna, that means this place of the Duke, all right, is in a state of war with Hungary. All right. Vienna is fighting a war with Hungary, and their Duke has just visited Hungary uh, mainly to stop that war. All right. The Duke, who is a very good human being, who is peace loving, feels that carrying on a war with Hungary will only bring loss, all right, which he doesn't want. And that's why he wants to go for a kind of peace treaty, Shanti Chukti, with Hungary. Now, Lucio and these two gentlemen, they don't like this defensive approach of the Duke. All right. Because they love to imagine themselves as warriors, as fighters. All right. As if fighting a war is something, a matter of pride for them. All right. That's why they feel that they are very much warlike. All right. They love to fight battles. So peace treaty is not something they want, and they do not like the Duke particularly for this reason. All right. And they also give some comparisons. Here the comparison is with a pirate. All right. A pirate is about to go to the sea, and you know who a pirate is? জলদস্যু, যিনি যারা কি করে নদীতে বা সমুদ্রে এরকম নৌকা বা জাহাজ দেখলে সেটাকে লুটপাট করে নেয়। অলরাইট, নাও ইফ ইউ টেল আ পাইরেট টু ওবে all the 10 commandments, which include thou shalt not steal. যদি পাইরেটকে বলা হয় যে তুমি 10টা কমান্ডমেন্টই মান্য করে চলবা, যে 10টা কমান্ডমেন্টের একটা হচ্ছে কি, will the pirate obey that? Of course not, right? Because it is his profession. It is a kind of profession of the pirate to steal, right? To do the robbery. So সেই কথাটাই তারা আলোচনা করছে যে the first gentleman responds that it is against the pirate's nature to obey such a rule. What is the rule? Thou shalt not steal. And likewise, it is against the soldier's nature to wish for peace. So they consider themselves as soldiers and they don't want peace. Okay. So we already find that there are some negativity in the minds of the people of Vienna for the Duke. Okay. They do not like the
Okay,
Duke
sir.
for certain reasons. And one reason is that they do not like his approach. Rifat, will you say something?
No, sir. I say okay.
Sorry, I lost the connection for a while.
O-
Rifat,
Okay, sir.
fine. Right, the three men are still joking about venereal disease when, quite appropriately, Mistress Overdone approaches. So they change their topic now, these three men. They start talking about venereal disease. Now, venereal diseases are the diseases that spread sexually. All right. These are sexual diseases. Uh, these are sexual diseases occur because of unlawful or illegitimate sexual interactions. All right. So they start talking about this discussion, these diseases, when quite appropriately, Mistress Overdone approaches. Let me remind you of the problem. I have got it back again. Now, Mistress Overdone is someone who runs a brothel, right? She tells them that Claudio has been carried off to prison for impregnating Juliet. Lucio and the gentleman go off to find out more, and Pompey the clown enters. So you have to imagine that there is a stage, and earlier on the stage there were those three gentlemen, including Lucio, and now uh, Mistress Overdone enters. So on the stage there are now four, and Mistress Overdone informs them about Claudio's arrest. She also tells that Claudio has been arrested for impregnating Juliet. Right? জুলিয়েট প্রেগনেন্ট হয়েছে এবং যেহেতু বিয়ের আগে এবং জুলিয়েটের সঙ্গে সম্পর্ক ক্লডিওর, সুতরাং ক্লডিওকে অ্যারেস্ট করা হয়েছে। Right? Now, Lucio and the gentleman go off to find out more. So Lucio and these two gentlemen, so all three, they exit the stage, and one new character enters, that is Pompey. Okay, Pompey the clown enters. I hope you remember Pompey. Pompey is a pimp. He is a comic character. He works for Mistress Overdone. Okay. Now Pompey tells Mistress Overdone that Claudio has been taken to prison for sexual involvement outside of marriage. Sexual involvement outside of marriage means premarital sex. All right. Now, Pompey also tells her that a proclamation shutting down all brothels in Vienna, equivalent to a red light district, has been issued. So, this is a bad news for Mistress Overdone, right? She runs a brothel, and there has already been a proclamation, an official declaration that all the brothels will be shut down. All right, all the brothels will be shut down, and Vienna will be declared a red light district. Okay.
What is the meaning of red light?
However, Red light here actually means a place where there are so many brothels and so many immoral activities take place here. All right. In that sense, it is a red light district. But there
Okay.
may be other meanings of it as well. A district or place where too many crimes take place. That may also be called a red light district.
Oh,
Although we are talking about sexual crimes here, but it may be any kind of crime. If the rate of crime is too high, unnaturally high, then it may be called a red light place, city, district, etc. Right.
okay, sir.
Now, there is one good news though, that brothels in the city proper are to remain operational. All right. Thanks to a political influence of a wealthy investor. So, not all the brothels are going to be shut down. Some brothels will still remain operational. Which brothels are they? The brothels in the city proper. So, the brothels which are inside the city will rather be functional or operational. And why is it so? Thanks to the political influence of a wealthy investor. There is a very influential person. He is politically influential and he is very rich as well. It is because of the influence of that person, these brothels in the city will not be shut down. So that also says that even in Shakespeare's time, there were things like corruption, right? Nepotism, influence of, uh, I would say, evil influence of political and rich people in the society, right? যেমনটা আমরা আজকে সময় দেখি। তো এখানে সেরকম একটা এক্সাম্পল পাচ্ছি যে শহরের ভেতরের ব্রথেলগুলো চলবে তারপরেও কেন চলবে? কারণ একজন ধনী এবং পলিটিক্যালি পাওয়ারফুল একজন লোক আছেন যিনি চান এগুলো চলুক, সেই কারণে চলবে। অলরাইট, নাও Mistress Overdone worries about her business, but Pompey tells her that she will always have customers. It is true, all right, especially in the context of Vienna. People have become so immoral. People have got this, I would say, free reign or freedom of doing such immoral things. So Pompey believes that Mistress Overdone has nothing to worry. People will continue to visit her brothel, all right? And she will continue to get customers. They decide to leave just as Claudio approaches, led by the provost. So you can now imagine that Pompey and Mistress Overdone make their exit from the stage, and now there are two on the stage. They are Claudio and the provost. The provost is the jailer. All right. Since Claudio has been arrested, it is absolutely appropriate that there will be the provost with him. All right. Claudio asks the provost why he is being taken to prison. And the provost replies that he is only following the orders of Lord Angelo. Even Claudio cannot realize what he has done. All right. Of course, he has committed a sin. And he's probably not aware of the fact that for committing such a sin, he may be arrested. Right. And this is quite normal since Claudio and the people of Vienna have so far been ruled by the Duke, who did not punish people for committing such sins or crimes. All right. So that surprises Claudio that suddenly he has been caught or arrested for committing something that he is not very aware of. All right. He is not very aware of the fact that what he has done is a punishable crime. এবং এই চেঞ্জটা কি জন্য হয়েছে? অ্যাঞ্জেলো ক্ষমতায় এসেছে সেই জন্য। ডিউক থাকলে ক্লডিওর কিছু হতো না। Right. And the provost replies that he is only following the orders of Lord Angelo. So look at the response of the provost. He doesn't say that Angelo committed a crime or something like this. he says that he is simply following the order of Lord Angelo. So that also shows that the provost doesn't feel that Claudio committed any serious crime. Okay. Lucio asks Claudio what he has done. Mind it, Lucio and Claudio are friends, all right? So Lucio meets Claudio and Lucio asks Claudio what he has done. তো লুসিও ক্লডিওকে জিজ্ঞাসা করছে যে বন্ধু তুমি কি করেছো, তোমাকে অ্যারেস্ট করেছে কেন? Claudio replies that he has taken too many liberties and is being punished, right? So Claudio doesn't give a direct answer. He doesn't say that I have impregnated my beloved, all right? He rather says he has taken too many liberties, আমি একটু বেশি স্বাধীনতা নিয়ে ফেলছি সেই কথা বলতে, and is being punished. Now Lucio asks for the specific offense and Claudio hesitates. Lucio can't understand clearly, so he asks for the specific offense. যে আসলে বন্ধু তুমি কি ঘটিয়েছো বলো তো, যে কেন তোমাকে অ্যারেস্ট করেছে? Claudio hesitates. Claudio doesn't answer, right? তার মানে তার ভেতরে সেই অপরাধ বোধটা আছে। Okay, he also knows what he has done is not right. It may not be a very punishable act, but what he has done is not morally supportable, all right? So that's why he hesitates. Lucio starts guessing. Lucio guesses the crime, starting with murder and then moving to lechery. So Lucio, as he doesn't get any direct answer from Claudio, starts guessing about this crime of Claudio. So he starts asking questions. সে বলতেছে যে did you kill someone? Okay, did you commit murder? Or did you steal something? Okay, did you do the robbery? Or did you cheat people? So বলে যাচ্ছে সে এক একটা অপরাধের কথা সে জিজ্ঞাসা করছে, and of course Claudio is answering negatively. All right, no, he hasn't done so. And finally Lucio comes down to lechery. All right, let me tell you, lechery means sexual deviance, sexual crimes. Crime may be a heavy word for such things, but lechery বলতেই বোঝায় মানে honestly sexual relationship-এ না থাকা, immoral কিছু করে বসা, all right? So when finally Lucio comes down to lechery, then Claudio replies that he is correct. Lucio asks, is lechery so looked after? So Lucio is also surprised. So far, crimes like lechery haven't been punished by the Duke. So what surprises Lucio is that his friend has been arrested for committing lechery. All right. So that's why, with surprise, he asked this question: is lechery so looked after? আজকাল ওই লেচারিকেও কি অত গুরুত্বের সঙ্গে দেখা হচ্ছে? Surprised that the penalty should be so high. আচ্ছা, তাহলে এই জায়গায় শেক্সপিয়ার একটা টেকনিক অ্যাপ্লাই করছেন। টেকনিকটা সম্পর্কে একটু বলি, because you will find the repetition of this technique throughout this play. What is the technique? To give the answer of something or to come to a certain point, not directly, but in a kind of roundabout manner. All right. Shakespeare, every time such a situation occurs, Shakespeare takes time to reveal the real nature of things. এখানে আমরা যেটা দেখলাম যে লুসিও তার বন্ধুকে সে জিজ্ঞাসা করছে যে বন্ধু তুমি কি করছো, তখন লুসিও ক্লডিও বলছে যে প্রথম উত্তর হচ্ছে তার কি, যে বন্ধু আমি আসলে একটু বেশি স্বাধীনতা নিয়ে ফেলেছি। ঠিক আছে, লুসিও বুঝতে পারে না। তখন লুসিও আবার জিজ্ঞাসা করে যে তুমি তোমার অপরাধটা কি আমাকে বলো। তখন ক্লডিও হেসিটেট করে, সে বলে না। তখন লুসিওই একটা একটা করে গেস করতে থাকে যে তুমি কি মার্ডার করছো, তুমি কি চুরি করছো, তুমি কি ডাকাতি করছো, তুমি কি ঠকাইছো, এরকম বলতে বলতে এক পর্যায়ে এসে যখন সে লেচারি পর্যন্ত আসে, যে তুমি কি কারোর সাথে ওরকম উল্টোপাল্টা কিছু করেছো কোনো মেয়ের সাথে, তখন যে ক্লডিও বলছে যে ইয়েস, লুসিও ইজ রাইট। তো এই যে খুব সহজে যেটা বলে দেওয়া যেত, শেক্সপিয়ার বলিয়ে দিতে পারতেন ক্লডিওর মুখ দিয়ে যে সে কি করেছে, সেটাকে কেমন ঘুরিয়ে ফিরিয়ে বলা, এই জিনিসটা এই নাটকে কয়েক জায়গায় আমরা দেখতে পাই। ওকে, অ্যান্ড সামটাইমস ইট ক্রিয়েটস এ কাইন্ড অফ ইন্টারেস্টিং ড্রামাটিক ইফেক্ট। অলরাইট, সেটা আমি দেখাবো সময় মতো। আপাতত আই এম জাস্ট প্রসিডিং উইথ দ্য ইভেন্টস হিয়ার। Claudio responds that his intentions were honorable and then that he hoped to marry Juliet, but they were waiting for a better. They are waiting. Sorry, Miss Kurlam. They were waiting for a better time to announce their engagement, because Juliet's family did not approve. Fine. So here, Claudio is trying to defend himself by putting forward some logics, okay, some justifications. For example, he claims that his intentions were honorable. Although he transgressed বলতে সীমা অতিক্রম করা, he transgressed the rules related to relationships or rules imposed on maintaining relationships. He transgressed those rules and he is being punished for this. But this is a good thing that his intentions were honorable. He did not do anything mainly to take advantage of Juliet. All right. His intentions were rather honorable, and that he hoped to marry Juliet. So that is even better. All right. That whatever wrong thing he had done, his intention was rather to marry Juliet finally. All right. Which further lessens his crime, আমি বলবো। তার অপরাধটাকে আরেকটু কমিয়ে দেয় যেটা। But they were waiting for a better time to announce their engagement.
লাস্টলি কি
So they
জুলিয়েটের
had
সাথে
already
বিয়ে হয়েছিল?
হ্যাঁ, অফকোর্স। এটা আমরা একটা কমেডি পড়ছি মূলত। সো এখানে ওরকম ভয়ঙ্কর কিছু ঘটবে না। এখানে যা ঘটবে পজিটিভই ঘটবে। It will have the happy ending. All right.
ওকে স্যার।
Right. Now they waiting for a better time to announce their engagement. Now announce their engagement. So there is another key point to look at. They had already done the engagement. All right. They had already done the engagement and they were only looking for a better time, a more appropriate time to announce their engagement. কারণ এই কথা দিয়ে কিন্তু সেটাই বেরিয়ে আসতেছে। হ্যাঁ, যে এঙ্গেজমেন্ট অলরেডি তাদের মধ্যে হয়েছে, কিন্তু তারা একটা ভালো সময় খুঁজতেছিল যে কখন এটাকে তারা অ্যানাউন্স করবে। এবং এই ভালো সময় খোঁজার প্রশ্নটা কেন আসতেছে? বিকজ জুলিয়েটস ফ্যামিলি ডিড নট অ্যাপ্রুভ। So that was the problem really in the relationship. One side, that means Juliet's side, did not approve this relationship. Okay. However, their most mutual entertainment between Juliet a form of entertainment for them, but it was the most mutual. Mutual মানে তো তুমি বোঝোই, মানে তাদের দুজনের সম্মতিতে। So their most mutual entertainment, consensual sexual intercourse, had led to Juliet's pregnancy, cluing the city authorities into now illegal premarital sexual activity between the two lovers. So the problem really occurred when Juliet became pregnant. Then the city authority, including all, realized that there had been premarital physical relationship between Juliet and Claudio, and Claudio was arrested after that. Right. Now Claudio ponders the reasons for these new strict laws, guessing that Angelo may be governing brutally in order to declare his rule. So now Claudio is even thinking, contemplating that should he be awarded something like death penalty for what he has done? And of course, he should not, right? He should not be awarded death penalty. Now guessing that Angelo may be governing brutally in order to declare his rule. So, like us, Claudio also realizes that Angelo has declared death penalty for Claudio mainly to declare his rule. Okay, mainly to send a message to all that from now on, stop doing such things. ঠিক আছে, একটা এক্সাম্পল সেট করে সবার মনে ভয় ঢুকিয়ে দেয়া, কিন্তু এখন থেকে কেউ যেন এই ধরনের অপরাধে না জড়ায়। This is good in a way, but punishing someone with death penalty, though the person doesn't deserve it, is not right. That is not justice. Okay. Lucio encourages him to appeal to the Duke, but Claudio tells him that the Duke's whereabouts are unknown. এর মধ্যে কিন্তু ওই ঘটনাটা ঘটে গেছে। ডিউক অ্যাঞ্জেলোর হাতে ক্ষমতা দিয়ে সরে পড়েছেন। কি করেছেন এটা আমরা জানি, তিনি একটা একটা চার্চে আশ্রয় নিয়েছেন, তিনি ফ্রায়ার হবেন, কিন্তু মানুষ তো আর ডিউকের ব্যাপারে আর জানে না যে উনি কোথায়। সো সেটাই ক্লডিও জানাচ্ছে। When Lucio tells him to inform the Duke about this development, Claudio says that nobody knows where the Duke really is. All right. Claudio asks Lucio to find his sister Isabella, who has just joined a convent, in order to ask her to appeal to Angelo on his behalf. So Claudio feels only Isabella can work to save him. All right. So only hope is Isabella. So he requests his friend Lucio to go to Isabella and to tell her about the whole thing. All right. So that brings an end to the first three scenes, scene 1, 2, 3. It's just a summary of the three scenes. সামারি পার্টটা সবসময় ইজি হয়, তোমরা মাস্টার্সের স্টুডেন্ট, তোমরা নিজেরা পড়লেও বুঝবা, আর এখন আমি যে বুঝিয়ে দিলাম এখন তো আরো সহজে বুঝবা আশা করি। Right. There was an interruption. Now I guess I'm
Excuse me, sir.
হ্যালো,
I guess
হ্যাঁ,
it's
শুনতে
not
পাচ্ছি।
working.
আচ্ছা
Sir, can you hear us, sir?
স্যারের এখানে সম্ভবত প্রবলেম আছে।
হ্যাঁ, তাই মনে হচ্ছে তাই। Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum Assalam. Now I have joined through my mobile phone. Hope to have no more disturbance from now on. There should not be any more connection problem. Right. Oh. So commentary is rather an area I should take the responsibility of, because there are a few more things to explain, and often the ideas shared there are not very easy to understand for all the students. There are good students who understand everything, I believe. So let's see what the commentary has to tell us. The major characters and situations are laid out. Yes, we have already been introduced with the major characters, right? We have found Claudio, we have found the Duke, we have found Angelo, who is the villain, we have found Lucio, right? Besides, we have met the provost, we have met Pompey, Mistress Overdone, almost all the important characters. The only characters we haven't yet met is Isabella, though we have heard about her in these first three scenes. Claudio mentions Isabella, who is his sister, and Claudio believes only Isabella can come to the rescue of Claudio now. All right. So the major characters and situations are laid out. The plot revolves around the new leader's
treatment of sexual offenses, right? How is the new leader, that is Angelo, treating or managing the sexual offenses, particularly fornication, which is considered a sin. Fornicationের অর্থ হচ্ছে premarital sex, all right? Now, the characters also fit into groups depending on their opinions about sexual behavior. You can now categorize them. You can now group them depending on their opinions about sexual behavior. For some, it is okay, to have immoral or illicit relationship with someone is quite okay. For some, it is a grave sin. Okay, so you can easily categorize the characters. Claudio is the middle of the road thinker, not involved in prostitution and possessing only noble beliefs about his relationship with Juliet, but unable to prevent himself from desiring her sexually and therefore culpable. So I have to explain this part specially. But before this, I must mention that the things we are discussing at this moment, at this very moment, are very relevant to your second broad question. The question which is about the conflict between religion and hedonism. All right. There are certain characters in this play who are very religious by nature, for whom any sexual deviance মানে হচ্ছে পথ থেকে সরে যাওয়া, সৎ পথ থেকে অসৎ পথে সরে যাওয়া. Sexual deviance means getting involved in immoral relationships. All right. So there are characters for whom any sexual deviance is a grave sin. But there are other characters also who feel that it is okay. All right. So this second group of characters belong to the hedonistic group, while the first group, who are very religious, belong to religion, or that first group. All right. And we are not talking about such characters. And here we find something about Claudio, which is interesting. Claudio has been called the middle of the road thinker. What does it really mean? He doesn't belong to either group very strongly or strictly. You cannot place him with these religious people like Isabella or the Duke. Neither you can place him with the hedonistic group like Mistress Overton, Pompey, the common people of Vienna, and Lucio even. Because Lucio is quite hedonistic by nature. All right. He often goes to the brothel for, say, physical entertainment. All right. Now, you have to put Claudio somewhere between these two groups. That's why Claudio is the middle of the road thinker. Now, why will you place him between these two groups? Not involved in prostitution. So he is not involved in prostitution in any way. He doesn't run a brothel. He doesn't appreciate Mistress Overdone. All right. He doesn't go to the brothel also. So he is not connected with prostitution in any way. So that is quite respectable, right? And he possesses only noble beliefs about his relationship with Juliet. A little earlier, we came to know that his intentions were honorable. That is, his relationship of Juliet, he respects that relationship. All right. He has all the good intentions for Juliet. He has true love for Juliet. All right. So he has got noble beliefs about his relationship with Juliet. However, he was unable to prevent himself from desiring her sexually and therefore culpable. Culpable মানে হচ্ছে নিন্দনীয়. So in spite of having all these noble beliefs, okay, in spite of having this true love for Juliet, he is culpable because he could not restrain himself. He got sexually engaged with Juliet. All right, so there he could not maintain that restraint. So that's why he is culpable, অথবা বাংলায় বললে নিন্দনীয়. So that places him at an interesting position. He belongs to neither of the two groups, rather he is the middle of the road thinker. His sister Isabella presents one extreme. We are still talking about these two groups. So Isabella presents one extreme, the good people, the religious people. She belongs to that group and she hates it. All right, she is the topmost there. She represents one extreme, abstain from sexual activity entirely in order to become a nun. Okay, she doesn't only restrain herself, she decides to abstain from it forever, abstain from any sexual activity forever. And that's why she decides to become a nun. As you know, a nun is never allowed to get sexually involved with anyone. All right. So she has decided to become a nun, so she represents one extreme. Mistress Overdone is at the other end of the spectrum, managing the prostitution business in Vienna. And of course, Mistress Overdone presents the other extreme. All right, she presents the other extreme. তাহলে ওই হেডনিজম রিলিজিয়নের ডিসকাশনে এই পার্টটা ইটস আ মাস্ট টু ইনক্লুড। ওকে, অ্যাকচুয়ালি সেখানে তোমাকে মূলত দেখাতে হবে যে কোন কোন ক্যারেক্টাররা হেডোনিস্টিক স্বভাবের, তাদের উপরে আলোচনা। তারপরে অন দ্য আদার সাইড or in contrast you have to discuss those characters who are deeply religious, all right, and who respects relationships, okay, who have got noble beliefs about relationships. So এই কমেন্টারির এই জায়গাটুকু বোঝা গেছে তো? কেউ যদি বুঝতে না পারো বলো।
বুঝেছি স্যার।
ওকে, দ্যাটস গ্রেট। অনেকে চুপ আছে, মৌনতাকে সম্মতির লক্ষণ ধরে নিচ্ছি যে তারাও বুঝেছে। যদিও from my experience I know that always minimum 30% students don't understand, but they don't also say that they haven't understood. This is a big problem, all right? And তারা যে বুঝতে পারে নাই এটা বোঝা যায় তাদের পরীক্ষার খাতায় যে when it is too late, ঠিক আছে? সো খুব সংক্ষেপে একবার এই প্যারাগ্রাফটার কথাটা বলি। মেইন ক্যারেক্টারগুলোকে আমরা অলরেডি পেয়ে গেছি, শুধু ইসাবেলা সম্পর্কে ইসাবেলাকে পাইনি, তার সম্পর্কে জেনেছি। ক্যারেক্টারগুলোকে যদি আমরা দুটো গ্রুপে ফেলি, একটা দল হচ্ছে খুব হেডোনিস্টিক, আরেকটা দল হচ্ছে খুব রিলিজিয়াস। বাট ক্লডিওর ব্যাপারে বলতে হয় যে সে দুটো গ্রুপের একটা গ্রুপেও পুরোপুরি পড়ে না, সে মাঝামাঝি কিছু। কেন সেরকমটা? তার মধ্যে বেশিরভাগই ভালোটাই আছে, এবং সে ভালো ব্যাপারগুলো হচ্ছে তার জুলিয়েটের সঙ্গে তার যে সম্পর্ক, সেই সম্পর্ককে সে সম্মান করে। জুলিয়েট সম্পর্কে তার ভিতরে নোবেল বিলিভস কাজ করে, তার ইন্টেনশন ভালো, সে প্রস্টিটিউশনের সঙ্গে কোনোভাবেই জড়িত না, প্রস্টিটিউশন সে চালায় না, সে প্রস্টিটিউটদের কাছে যায়ও না। তারপর আমরা আরো জেনেছি যে সে জুলিয়েটকে বিয়ে করত, কিন্তু কিছু জুলিয়েটের দিক থেকে কিছু সমস্যা থাকা এখনো বিয়ে করতে পারেনি। তারা এঙ্গেজড হয়েছে, সেটাও আমরা তার মুখ থেকেই শুনতে পাচ্ছি, ঠিক আছে? সো অল দিস থিংস আর গুড। আর সবচেয়ে বড় কথা হচ্ছে জুলিয়েটের প্রতি তার যে ভালোবাসাটা, সেটা একেবারে সত্যিকারের ভালোবাসা। খারাপ দিক কোনটা? সে নিজেকে সংযত করতে পারেনি, সম্পর্কের দিক থেকে সে একটু বেশি দূরে গিয়ে গেছে এবং সে সীমা অতিক্রম করেছে। দিস ইজ হিজ প্রবলেম। সে কারণে তাকে আবার রিলিজিয়াস লোকদের গ্রুপেও ফেলা যাচ্ছে না। তারপরে বলেছে যে ইসাবেলা একটা এক্সট্রিমকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করে, ভালোদের মধ্যে কেননা সে যদি সেক্সুয়াল অ্যাক্টিভিটি মানে সেক্সুয়াল অ্যাক্টিভিটি সে কিছু বিরত থাকে তা না, সে একেবারেই এটা থেকে প্রেজেন্ট করে যে সে সেক্সুয়াল অ্যাক্টিভিটিতে মানুষকে ডেকে আনে। she runs a brothel, right? আচ্ছা, the only mobile character in the spectrum is Angelo. So another character who is called a mobile character. Why is he a mobile character? Who is here presented as a strict but virtuous leader who is given free rein in the Duke's absence. All right. Angelo begins to enforce laws that have been dormant for some time. He hopes to clean up the city, shutting down brothels and requiring abstinence before marriage. This will make illegitimate births a thing of the past and protect the city's women, so it is not harmful in itself. He oversteps the framework of justice, however, when he sentences Claudio to death for having sexual intercourse with his lover before marriage. This is, of course, a very strict punishment considering the crime, and Angelo appears as an unwavering and merciful leader at this point. আচ্ছা, তো অ্যাঞ্জেলো সম্পর্কে এই পুরো প্যারাগ্রাফটা, which will help you to evaluate Angelo's character in a better way. All right, he has been called a mobile character. Let us first discuss this point. Which character is a mobile character? A character that keeps changing in course of the literary piece. It may be a novel, it may be a play, but the character continues to change, right? At the beginning, we find Angelo as a very strict, very moralistic person, someone who is dead against unlawful sexual activities, okay, and someone who takes some very strong decisions. One such decision is to shut down the brothels, right? So that draws our respect for Angelo, but later we find Angelo to be a bit too much strict, all right, especially when he declares death penalty for Claudio for impregnating Juliet, all right. Anyone will feel that it is too harsh a judgment considering the level of the crime. But Angelo does that. So in a way, এখানে যে স্টেটমেন্টটা আমি এটা রিপিট করতে চাই, he oversteps the framework of justice. He oversteps the framework of justice. All right, that means he crosses his limit as a judge. All right. আর এখানে কিন্তু একটা crucial point চলে আসতেছে, which is related to your first broad question. All right, the first broad question is, what is the nature of justice as shown in the play? Or আমি প্রশ্নটাকে একটু ঘুরিয়ে করতে পারি, আমি এরকম বলতে পারি, discuss the idea of justice that you develop after studying measure for measure. Measure for measure পড়ার পরে জাস্টিস সম্পর্কে তোমার মনে কি ধারণা তৈরি হয়, তোমার কাছে ট্রু জাস্টিস কি, আলোচনা করো, ঠিক আছে? সো এখানে জাস্টিসের পয়েন্টটা এসছে। ওই কোয়েশ্চেনের অ্যান্সারটা এখন আলোচনা করব না, আজকে ক্লাসের সময় থাকলে এই পয়েন্টটা ডিসকাস করার পরে করব। এই পয়েন্টটা বলতে এই কমেন্টারিটা। অলরাইট, সো হি চেঞ্জেস অ্যাজ এ ক্যারেক্টার, Angelo, and later he changes further and he lowers himself in our eyes when he makes a very indecent proposal to Isabella. All right, very, very indecent proposal, because he invites Isabella to have sex with him, something he cannot, but he does so. All right, so he further lowers himself to our eyes and he changes again as a character. So such character is called a mobile character. All right, now he acha tarpor eta to gelo একটু সরে গিয়েছিলাম। একটু বেশি, হ্যাঁ পেয়েছি। So he does some good things, এগুলো এখানে বলেছে। He shuts down the brothels, যার ফলে কয়েকটা ভালো রেজাল্ট পাওয়া যাবে, যেটা one is illegitimate births will be a thing of the past. That means there will be no more illegitimate births. অবৈধ সন্তানের জন্ম এই শহরে আর হবে না। And next, women will feel safer now. অলরাইট, যে তারা এখন আরো বেশি নিরাপদ অনুভব করবে, এটাও একটা ভালো দিক। আচ্ছা, আমি তারপরে এর পরের প্যারাগ্রাফে চলে যাচ্ছি। The general atmosphere in Vienna seems to be one of merriment and disregard for the law. This point goes with that second broad question, the conflict between hedonism and religion. So সেখানে এটা আসতে পারে, the general atmosphere in Vienna seems to be one of merriment. People are living merry lives. Okay, ফুর্তি, আনন্দ, এর মধ্যে মানুষ যেন ডুবে আছে। And disregard for the law. They do not care about law. Right? Claudio is to serve as an example in order to change this. Angelo feels that to change the overall atmosphere of the city, to change this attitude of merriment and disregard for the law in people, he has to do something very, what should I say, something very strong. Okay, he needs to send a very strong message to the people, and he does so by judging such a severe punishment for Claudio. মানুষ যেন একটা শিক্ষা পায়। All right. So Claudio is to serve as an example in order to change this. It is perhaps this environment which prompts Isabella to join the nunnery, since she does not approve of fornication or prostitution and wants to be close to God and safe from male attention. So the result of one extreme is generally another. Another extreme. So Isabella also saw this environment of the city, the merriment and disregard for the law. Isabella realized that life of a woman is not safe in the city, and just to stay away from such attitude of people, just not to be a victim of people's merriment or disregard for the law, Isabella decides to become a nun. ঠিক আছে? তো শহরের এই পরিবেশই তাকে বাধ্য করছে একজন নান হওয়ার জন্য। The major conflict of the play already emerges at this point. It lies between Isabella and the other characters, or it lies between religion and hedonism. So আমি আসলে এই পয়েন্টটা থেকেই ওই ব্রড কোয়েশ্চেনটা দিয়েছিলাম। Okay, so your discussion should start from this very first commentary, right? যে আমরা কি পাচ্ছি, একটা গ্রুপ রিলিজিয়নকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করে, যার মধ্যে ইসাবেলা আছে, যার মধ্যে ডিউক আছে, অন্যান্য যে ফ্রায়াররা আছেন তারা আছে। অন্যদিকে আরেকটা গ্রুপ যেখানে বেশিরভাগ লোক যারা ফুর্তিতে বিশ্বাসী, মৌজে বিশ্বাসী, যারা সেক্সুয়ালিটিকে অপরাধ হিসেবে দেখে না, সো তারা হেডোনিস্টিক পিপল। আচ্ছা, আই উইল নট গো ফার্দার। আজকে এই ফার্স্ট অ্যাক্টের প্রথম তিনটা সিনের আলোচনায় হলো। I understand that I'm going a bit too slowly. I will try to increase my pace in my next class. আরেকটু দ্রুত আগাবো। বাট অ্যাজ আই সেড, যে আমি আরেকটা পয়েন্ট একটু আলোচনা করতে চাই, কেননা আমরা নাটকটা আলোচনা করার সাথে সাথে ওই যে ব্রড যে দুটো কোয়েশ্চেন আমি দিয়েছি এগুলো আলোচনা হয়ে যাক, আমি সেটা চাচ্ছি। So the first broad question is the idea of justice that you develop after studying measure for measure. If I were in your place, probably the answer of the pattern of my answer would be like this. That is, first I would show why the Duke has failed. I repeat, first I would show why the Duke has failed. The Duke has failed because he has been too easy, he has been too flexible, and he has been too lenient to his people. There was law in the city, but he did not implement it. So people started taking advantage of this leniency of the Duke, and they also started crossing the limit, okay, violating law. Now this is one side of the issue. Next is, is Angelo going to be successful by applying a much stricter measure? My answer is no. All right. If you are in that seat of the judge, you have to take the right decision, right? Someone like Claudio, he has committed a crime, but the crime is not such that deserves death penalty. But Angelo has decided death penalty for Claudio, which is too harsh um, according to anyone's opinion. All right. But Angelo does so with a purpose. He wants to Angelo does so with a purpose. He wants to declare his role. সে আসলে বলতে চায় যে দেখো আমি আসছি, সাবধান হয়ে যাও। And he wants to set Claudio as an example. কিন্তু আইন কি এভাবে চলে কিনা? আমি আইনের স্টুডেন্ট না, বাট আমি একটা জিনিস জানি, আই হার্ড ইট সামওয়্যার, যে hundreds or thousands guilty persons may escape, but one innocent person should not be punished. Alright? যেটা বলছি তার অর্থটা এরকম যে চাইলে 100 জন লোক, 100 জন অপরাধী পার পেয়ে যেতে পারে, কিন্তু একজন নিরপরাধ মানুষ যেন শাস্তি না পায়। আইনের একটা মূল বিষয় হচ্ছে এটা। ওকে, so there is mercy there in
Yes, sir. I knew
administering.
it.
Yeah. So in administering law, mercy has a place. What Angelo does is just the opposite to that, right? He is giving death penalty to someone who doesn't deserve it. He wants to show himself as someone very, very strict, but he cannot do it. So Angelo is bound to fail as well. So neither Angelo nor the Duke can show us the right form of justice, but we learn from their experiences. So আমি কি করব, আমি যদি অ্যান্সারটা লিখতাম, আমি প্রথমে ডিউকের ব্যর্থতাটা তুলে ধরতাম, কেন তিনি ব্যর্থ হচ্ছেন সেটা বলতাম, তারপরে আমি অ্যাঞ্জেলোর ব্যর্থতাটা তুলে ধরতাম এবং কেন সে ব্যর্থ হচ্ছে সেটা ধরতাম। তাহলে যখন আমি দুটো ডিসকাস করছি, তখন হোয়াট উইল বি মাই কনক্লুশন? My conclusion will be, it is between something between these two, like penalty or punishment should be according to the level of the crime, right? Punishmentটা হবে অপরাধ অনুসারে। Yes, there may be a place for mercy, যেটা আমরা আইনে দেখেছি। যেমন অনেক সময় খুব বড় কোনো ঘটনা ঘটলে, পজিটিভ খুব ঘটনা ঘটলে, তার পরিপ্রেক্ষিতে অপরাধীদের শাস্তি কমিয়ে দেওয়া হয়, কখনো কখনো মুক্তও করে দেওয়া হয়, যেটাকে আমাদের ভাষায় বলা হয় সাধারণ ক্ষমা। ঠিক আছে? কিংবা জাজরা যখন কোনো কারো ডিসাইড করেন শাস্তি, তখন দেখেন যে যাকে তিনি শাস্তি দিচ্ছেন সে মেন্টালি ওকে কিনা, সে শারীরিকভাবে সুস্থ ছিল কিনা, তারা আরো অনেক কিছু জাজ করেন, যে যখন সে অপরাধটা ঘটালো কনটেক্সটটা কি ছিল, কোন ঘটনার পরিপ্রেক্ষিতে সেটা করেছে, ডিড হি ডু ইট ফর সেলফ ডিফেন্স অর হিজ ইন্টেনশন ওয়াজ ব্যাড। So all these are taken into consideration for deciding something like death penalty. And even in some justice system, in some countries of the world, there is no place for death penalty. All right. Life imprisonment is rather the highest form of punishment there. So mercy has a place in justice. So আমি বলবো যে true form of justice is, or right form of justice is, something between these two. The punishment should be according to the level of the crime, and there can be a place for mercy while judging or deciding punishment for someone. So এখানে কিন্তু আবার কথা শেষ না, there is one last point যেটা দিয়ে আজকের আলোচনাটা শেষ করব। এটার জন্য আমি একটা মজার গল্প বলি তোমাদেরকে। গল্পটা তোমরা অনেকেই জানো যদিও। গল্পটা হচ্ছে নাসিরুদ্দিন হোজার গল্প। হোজা তার এলাকায় খুব বিখ্যাত তার বুদ্ধিমত্তার জন্য। সবাই জানে যে সে খুব, এবং তাকে সবাই খুব রেসপেক্টও করে, সবাই খুব মানে। তো একবার এক বৃদ্ধ মহিলা তার ছেলেকে নিয়ে গেলেন, ছেলে তরুণ, ছেলেকে নিয়ে গেলেন। সমস্যা হচ্ছে ছেলে প্রচুর পরিমাণে চিনি খায়, মিষ্টি খায়, যেটা ভালো না, মহিলা জানেন। তো তিনি চাচ্ছেন যে তার কথা তার ছেলে শোনেন না, তো নাসিরুদ্দিন হোজা ছেলেটাকে বুঝিয়ে বলবে। তো তিনি গেলেন, হোজা বসে আছেন, সামনে এই দুজন দাঁড়িয়ে আছেন। বেশ কিছুটা সময় পার হয়ে গেল, হোজা কিছু বললেন না, এবং কিছু সময় পরে হোজা বললেন যে ঠিক আছে তোমরা এখন যাও। তো মহিলা একটু কনফিউজ হয়ে গেলেন যে কেন আমাদেরকে কিছু না বললেই উনি চলে যেতে বললেন। দ্বিতীয়বার তিনি গেলেন কিছুদিন পর, এবং সেখানেও একই ঘটনা ঘটলো। তারা দাঁড়িয়ে আছেন হোজার সামনে। হোজা অনেকক্ষণ চুপচাপ বসে থাকার পরে বললেন যে না তোমরা যাও, ঠিক আছে। তো এবারও তিনি চলে গেলেন। তিনি নাছোড়বান্দা, তিনি তৃতীয়বারও আসলেন হোজার কাছে আরো কয়েকদিন পর। তারা দাঁড়িয়ে আছেন, এবার আর হোজা অপেক্ষা করলেন না তাদেরকে, খুব শক্ত করে ছেলেটাকে একটা বকা দিয়ে দিলেন যে এখন থেকে যেন আর চিনি না খাও বা তোমার মায়ের কথা তুমি শুনবা। তো মহিলা একটু অবাক হলেন, তিনি প্রশ্ন না করে পারলেন না, তিনি বললেন যে হুজুর, এই যে কথাটা আপনি আমার ছেলেকে বললেন এটা তো প্রথমবারই বলে দিতে পারতেন, আপনি এত সময় কেন নিলেন, আমাকে কেন 3বার আনালেন আপনি, বা আমাকে কেন 3বার আসতে হলো? তখন হোজা বললেন যে তোমার ছেলেকে না করার আগে আমাকে তো আমার নিজের চিনি খাওয়ার, আমি যে বেশি চিনি খাই, আমার ওই সমস্যা আছে, তো আমাকে আমার এই চিনি খাওয়ার অভ্যাসটা কমাতে হতো। ওকে, so there I find the last point of discussion যে someone who is there to ensure justice must be morally strong, and this play teaches that lesson as well. Okay, Angelo is in that position now. Is Angelo morally strong? I'm afraid no. All right, when he sees Isabella, he loses all the restrictions and he proposes so dirtily to Isabella. All right, so that also is a reason for his failure. So this is the last point to draw or to talk about justice, that yes, justice means to punish someone or reward someone according to the level of the crime or the achievement, and at the same time justice is also about the fact that the person who ensures justice should be morally strong. আমরা যদি এটা আশা করি যে হ্যাঁ, সাপোজ আমি জাজ, যে আমি নিজের পার্সোনাল লাইফে যাই করি না কেন, আমি যখন চেয়ারে বসবো, জাস্টিস এনশিওর করার চেয়ারে, আমি যখন জাজের চেয়ারে বসবো, তখন আমি ঠিক কাজ করব। বাট আসলে এটা হয় না। ওকে, এটা বেশি দিন হয় না, বিকজ মাই মাইন্ডসেট ম্যাটার্স। Okay, if it comes from the heart, if my judgment comes from the heart, if I am sincere in making my judgment, then I have to be morally strong as well. আমি নিজেকে মোরাল লাইফ লিড করব, কিন্তু চেয়ারে বসে আমি মোরাল ডিসিশন দেব, সেটা আসলে সম্ভব না। ওকে, so this is the last point to talk about. আচ্ছা, so that's all for today. As I promised, I would upload both the classes. ঠিক আছে, আজকের মধ্যে এটা করব, তোমরা ইনশাআল্লাহ পেয়ে যাবে। আমাদের নেক্সট ক্লাস মোস্ট প্রবাবলি বৃহস্পতিবারে হবে, আমি তার আগে তোমাদেরকে জানাবো, and I will probably have discussions with you online. ঠিক আছে, does anybody have any question? No, I hope my
স্যার
discussion
আমাদের
is
মিড টার্ম কবে হবে?
too early to ask this question. Anyway, I don't have the calendar at this moment with me. আমি জানাবো, শীঘ্রই জানাবো। ঠিক আছে,
ওকে
অথবা
স্যার,
তোমরা
ওকে।
অন্যান্য কোর্স টিচারদেরকে জিজ্ঞাসা করতে পারো, you will get the answer.